Let's talk about Kendrick Lamar's Money Trees. This song, it's not just a track, you know? It's like a whole movie compressed into 5 minutes. It's this incredibly dense story about ambition, survival, and the impossible choices people have to make growing up in Compton. All right, let's really get into it.
The entire song, really, the entire idea, hangs on this one line. It's such a powerful metaphor, and it sounds so peaceful, doesn't it? A perfect place for shade, a place to get some relief. But as we're about to see, the kind of shade this tree offers and the ground it's planted in, well, it's way more complicated and dangerous than it sounds.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with why that money tree is so appealing. Then we'll get into the dream versus the harsh reality, look at the desperate hustle it leads to, the huge moral choices on the table, the cycle of violence that fuels it all, and finally, we'll talk about the real price of finding that shade.
Okay, so first things first, the pull. What makes the idea of a money tree so powerful? Well, in a world that's all about hardship, it's the ultimate fantasy. It's not just about getting rich, it's about escaping that constant grind, finding a place where you can finally breathe.
You gotta feel the optimism in this line, even if it feels a little shaky. And notice, it's not a selfish dream. He says, we all rich. It's this collective dream, this idea that just one lucky break, one single dollar could be enough to lift everybody up. It's a kind of hope that feels so close you can almost touch it.
But then, almost immediately, Kendrick flips it and shows us the dark side of that same dollar. See, it's not just some tool for a better life. It's a corrupting force. It has the power to wreck relationships, to smash loyalties, to completely change who you are. The very thing that could save you could also be the thing that destroys you.
And that brings us to the real conflict at the heart of this song. It's this massive, massive gap between the dream they're chasing and the reality they wake up to every single day. This is where the story gets its raw power.
Man, this just lays it out perfectly. It's like whiplash. 1 second, you're dreaming about the life you see in music videos, the E40 and Usher lifestyle. And then bam, Kendrick yanks you right back down to earth. The reality is hot sauce and top ramen, and the blunt truth, we poor. That fantasy is just a quick escape, but reality always comes crashing back.
This is one of the most powerful lines in the whole song. Kendrick connects a luxury brand, a symbol that you've made it, directly to this deep trauma. His uncle was murdered near a local burger joint, Louis Burgers. So now, even if he gets rich enough to buy a Louis Vuitton belt, that name, Louis, is forever tied to this horrible pain. It's just this incredible statement that no amount of money, no status symbol can ever heal some wounds.
So what happens when that gap between the dream and the reality just gets too big to handle? Well, that's when desperation kicks in. And that desperation leads to a plan. The song literally shifts from dreaming to scheming. I mean, just look at how cold and logical this is. The idea of a house lick, a robbery. It's not some random act of chaos. It's persuasive. It starts to make a sick kind of sense. And there's a real plan. Hit the house during work hours when it's empty. The target is someone who looks like an easy mark. And the motive? Man, they're so desperate they'd even rob a preacher for the money.
And that desperation leads us right here, to the spiritual and moral center of the entire song. It's a choice that it seems like everyone in this world has to make, one way or another. This phrase right here is everything. Think about it. Pick your poison. It means there are no good options. Every single path you take has some kind of toxic result. So it's not a choice between right and wrong, it's a choice between two different ways of being damned.
And here's the choice, laid out so clearly. Halle Berry stands for the physical world, right? Immediate pleasure, earthly rewards. It's what you can see and feel right now. Hallelujah, on the other hand, is the spiritual path. It's about faith and worrying about what happens to your soul in the long run. And in the world of money trees, you are always being forced to decide which one you're really after.
Wow, just think about that for a second. It's such a deep thought on what legacy even means. The shooter, yeah, they get respect, but it's a respect that comes from fear, and it doesn't last. The victim, though, the victim becomes immortal. They live on in memories, in the pain of the people who love them, and in all the consequences that ripple out from their death. Their story doesn't just end there.
So now we get to J-Rock's verse, and it's like the camera suddenly zooms out. We see that Kendrick's story isn't just about him. It's a product of his entire environment, of this relentless, brutal cycle.
It all comes down to something this cold and hard, the number 2.
That lyric about Uncle Tony is powerful, but that number 2 just haunts this whole album. It echoes the 2 bullets that killed his friend's brother in another song. It's this brutal reminder that we're not talking about some abstract idea of violence. We're talking about specific, personal tragedies that create the desperation we've been hearing about.
And then J-Rock just unleashes this brutal, breathless portrait of the Nickerson Gardens projects. It's just one image after another. Pistols popping, baking soda Yola whipping, that's cooking crack cocaine. Ain't no turkey on Thanksgiving, pots with cocaine residue, eating government cheese, serpents lurking, broken promises. It's this overwhelming flood of images that shows you exactly what kind of world they are fighting to escape.
And all of that brings us right back to where we started, that money tree. But now, after everything we've heard, that simple metaphor feels completely different, doesn't it?
So maybe we need a new definition. A money tree isn't some magical fix. It's a symbol of hope, for sure, but its roots are tangled up in a grim reality. The shade, the protection it offers, it grows from a soil made of violence and desperation and really tough moral compromises. That comfort comes at a ridiculously high price.
And that's really the final question the song leaves us with. It doesn't give you any easy answers, it just lays out the brutal math of what it takes to survive and chase a dream in a world with so few options. And it asks us to think about the true cost of that shade. Is it worth it? What would you do?